Friends, if you are looking to learn what is option selling, and if you are an absolute beginner with no idea of what this thing is, in this video, I will teach you, or I will help you understand the concept of option selling. This is a proper 101 beginner friendly video. Let's get started. Now, what is an option? Let's first understand what is an option. See, option is basically a contract which is being done between two parties. So there are two parties and they are getting into a contract which is called an option. Now, as the name suggests, option as a contract gives both parties sort of an option, but there are some nuances depending on if you are buyer of the contract or seller of the contract. Now, to understand how an optional contract works, let me give you a real life or a non-market example. Before that, I must also tell you, this is a video where I am teaching you certain concepts or teaching you certain basics, but I am not asking you to trade. In fact, it is pretty well established that investors do better than traders over the long term, and most traders lose money. To help you understand option in general as a concept, I'm making several videos in this series, and I'm using the Dhan option trader app for you to understand these videos. So I have logged into my Dhan account over here as well. So when we go to actually looking at option contracts in Nifty and Bank Nifty and how they work, we will use the option trader app by Dhan where I have an account. Now back to understanding option as a concept. Suppose you want to rent a house, but you do not know if you will actually move into the house. That clarity will come to you 3 months later when you actually move to this new city. Now the landlord is someone who is willing to get into an options contract with you or an option contract with you, where the deal between two of you is that you will pay a small deposit, say 10,000 rupees to the landlord, and you decide a date 3 months later when you will actually move into the house. But you are not sure if you will actually move into the house. So what you have given is you have given a token amount over here, and you have bought in a way an option to move into the house. Hey, I may come and move into this house 3 months later. But the landlord has given you a commitment. It's an obligation on part of the landlord that on a given date after 3 months at a certain rent, say rental of 20,000 per month, he will give you this house on rent for sure. Now after 3 months, if you do not go and take this house and you say, no, I don't want it, this entire token amount now belongs to the landlord and you have lost it. But 3 months later, if you decide to move into the house and you are willing to pay the 20,000, you will get to stay in this house even if the market rate then is increased to 25k, because you had paid a token to get this right to move in if you want to. Now there is one very important nuance over here that you need to understand. The buyer of the contract, the person who is paying the premium, has an option. You can very well choose not to move into this house, but the landlord has to necessarily give you the house because they have accepted the premium. So it is a guarantee that they are giving. That is why it's called an option contract, where you have the option, but they have the obligation to provide something. Now on both sides, this can be an obligation to either buy or sell something. So this option could have been reversed as well. The reverse option will be when the tenant will have the option to sell the house back to the landlord and vacate it if they want to, and the landlord will have to take it back. But anyway, we will get to the reverse case, understand call and put, all of this when we get to the markets. But I hope you have understood some basic of the option contract, and I want you to next understand a few key terms of a contract. So first, there is an expiry date. There is the strike price. In this house example, The strike price was the rental agreed to, which was 20,000. Then there is the premium. Premium was the deposit or the token given, which in this case was 10,000. Expiry was the date after 3 months on which date you would go and take the house. There is another factor over here, which is the current price or the underlying price, which is also called the spot price of the house, which was 20,000 but could have been anything after 3 months. So this is a fluctuating price. This is the underlying price of the instrument you are trading into or taking a contract against, which keeps changing. Next, we should understand that your strike price could be either at the money, in the money, or out of the money. So we will understand these three concepts, and then we will understand what determines the cost of the premium. First, let's understand the makeup of the premium. To understand premium, we have to understand that the rental of the house, while 20,000 rupees is an estimated price, on any given day, the market could either be at 21,000 or 19,000 depending on the people who are willing to buy this. If the market goes to 21,000 rupees, the 10,000 rupees which was paid as a premium for this house already has 1,000 rupees of actual value accumulated, which is because the buyer will still get the house for 20,000 rupees, but they have paid 10,000 rupees to get this option. Now, if the price has gone to 21, they are effectively saving 1,000 rupees over here, which means there are two parts to the premium: 1,000 rupees of actual value and 9,000 rupees of, you can say, speculative value. Now, this 1,000 rupee of actual value is called intrinsic value because now this contract definitely has 1,000 rupee of benefit in it. But the remaining 9,000 is something called time value, that there is still 3 months to the execution of this contract and the market can go in any direction. So accounting for that uncertainty, this 9,000 rupees is added to the premium by the market. Now, as we get closer to the date of execution and 3 months are going by, this speculation part or the time value keeps going down, because the closer we are to the 3 months date, the contract is closer to its closing and the price is gonna be more static near the market where it is running. The spot price is not going to have as much time to move up or move down. So the price of the premium, remember, as I told, has two parts. Premium has intrinsic value, which depends on the spot market. So the spot market will determine the intrinsic value, if it is going in favor of the buyer or not. But the time value, which also accounts for volatility, is a factor which will keep going down as the expiry date is getting closer. So the premiums of a lot of option contracts goes to zero if they have no intrinsic value at the end date. In our example, suppose we are on the day of expiry after 3 months, and this contract of 10,000 rupees now, which gives you right to buy or rent this apartment for 20,000, has zero value if the current rental has become 19,500. If something is available in the market for 19,500, why will anyone pay 20,000 to have a right to rent it? So your actual value premium will be zero if the actual rental closes at 19,500, because this contract now has no value because you can directly get it in the market for 19,500. Inversely, if the contract said that you can get it for 20,000 and the actual rent is 20,500 3 months later, this 10,000 rupee contract will now have 500 rupees of actual value on closing, and it will close, the premium will close at 500. Now, I know I have used house rental as an example, but this same thing applies to the market. So let us go and look at how these concepts apply in Nifty for an option seller. And there are some very important things about being an option seller, which we will also cover. So I have launched my option trader app, which is by Dhan, a dedicated app for option trading. You can do the same thing in the Dhan main app as well. And I have come to my watch list. Within the watch list, I have created a watch list where I have different Nifty contracts listed over here. So let's understand what these contracts are and how the option contracts are working from an option selling perspective. First up, we are taking the example of an index called Nifty. Nifty is the index of top 50 stocks in NSE. Now the Nifty index has a spot price which is currently around 23,736. And there are different call and put contracts which are available. Let's quickly understand the concept of call and put. Our example, thankfully, if you have understood it, will make it very easy to understand this call and put as a concept. The call gives the buyer a right to buy and the seller an obligation to sell. The put contract gives the buyer a right to a option to sell, but the seller a obligation to buy. Now, how does this work? In our case, the example that we took is a call example where the tenant is giving a premium to the landlord and saying, I will have a right, but an optional right to buy, and you will have to rent or sell this apartment to me at a certain price. That is a call option. So if you are selling a call option, you are basically the landlord who will guarantee that I will give you this house at a certain price, no matter what the market price is. But if you are selling a put option, you are saying, I will take this house from you or take this asset from you at this strike price, no matter what the underlying market is running at. So if you are selling a call, you are basically assuring that you will sell it at a certain price. If you are selling a put, you are assuring that you will buy it at a certain price. Now, when you are making a call option, when will you make profit or how will you make profit? You will make a profit if the market goes down, because you have said I will sell it at a given price. And now if the market goes down, you basically will get to keep the premium that you collected, which is 10,000, because the buyer will not come to exercise the option, simply because the buyer will make a loss by exercising the option at whatever are, in our example, it was 20,000 of rental, because the market has now gone to say 19,500. So you will get to keep the premium. This is the premium for which this contract is selling. So in case of Nifty, there is a weekly expiry and a monthly expiry. Last Thursday of the week is when weekly expiry happens. Last Thursday of the month is when monthly expiry happens. So in this case, 26 December is the monthly expiry. So the Nifty contracts have two kinds of expiries. And then there are different strike prices for which both call and put contracts are available. Now let's understand this in a live market Nifty. If the current market is 23,730 and I have a call option at 23,900 that I am selling. To sell this contract, there is a lot of 25, a single quantity is of 25 and the premium is 25. And the buyer is basically saying, I will have the right to buy it from you on 26th December, which is 2 days from now, for 23,900. Now, in all likelihood, this premium will go to zero, because at this point, this premium has no intrinsic value because the current market is way below 23,900. In fact, it's minus 180 right now. So the time value is giving it 25 as its current price, but this is likely to go to zero if the market does not go above 23,900. So now, as an option seller, if I want to sell this option, I will click on this call option and click on sell. A single quantity is 25 and a single lot is 1. I will have to give a margin of 62,000 rupees. Now, why is this the case? Why do I have to pay such a big margin? Because please understand, the underlying trade over here is 23,900 into 25. And if the market, for example, goes to 24,000, you will have to pay the difference of this into 25. So that will be 100 into 25. And if the market goes to 24,500, the difference of 600 will be multiplied by 25, which is the quantity. So your downside in option selling can be huge. Do you understand? If I am a buyer who just paid the token for the house, or if I am a buyer of this call option, all I am paying is this 25 premium into 25 for one lot, and I am done. So as a buyer, if I click on buy, all I have to pay is 648, and that's it, because at most this premium will go to zero, because the buyer only has the right but no compulsion to come and buy it. But the seller has a duty or an obligation to sell it at a given price. So if the market actually goes above this, the seller is gonna lose money big time. So option selling has huge downside potentials to make a loss, and that is why new traders, or any trader for that matter, should not take a naked position. You should always take positions such that you are limiting your loss and you are in process also limiting your profit, but your loss is not unlimited. And this is done using strategies or stop loss. And in coming videos, we will also understand how to create strategies or how strategies are implemented. But I hope you are understanding that at 23,900, if you are selling a call option, currently it has no intrinsic value. This 25 is only time value. And if the market remains below 23,900 on 26th, you will get to keep this premium to yourself, but your margin requirement is still high because your loss potential is high if the market actually goes above. So you have to be careful of that. Now, in case of a put contract, now if I sell a put for 23,900, the situation is very different, because I am basically saying that I will buy the Nifty at 23,900 from you, but the current market is already below this price, which means there is an intrinsic value of 180 rupees in this contract already, which means if you agree to take this 150 rupee premium to sell this put contract, you are already down by 30 rupees, because 30 rupees is the difference between the actual intrinsic value and the price of the premium that you are paying. Now, why would you do this? You would do this if you expect the market to move in your favor. So if the market comes up to 23,850 and you have to still buy it at 23,900 as an option seller, it is not a problem for you, because you collected 150 rupees as premium. So 50 rupees out of that goes into covering the difference between the market price and this price, and you will pocket 100 into 25. So that's how a option selling works over here as well. We have covered a lot of basics over here on what is option selling, how to sell options, and how to look at different strike prices and contracts and actually trade them with a live example I will show in my coming videos. So do like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, do ask me in comments.